I made my first $100 when I was 11 years old, and I did that through selling football cards. So in Australia, Australian football is quite a big sport. And when I was in primary school, we would like buy football cards. They're like collectible cards, which you would trade and you would try and get the rarest ones, and those would be worth like a lot of money. And I didn't have that intention going first. Like I just saw everyone like trading football cards, like during lunch or during any break they had, I would just see people exchanging it, and it was just like a massive market. And initially, like I couldn't afford to buy cards in the first place because you've got to go to the superstore and buy one of those packets. So I just started off like printing off like fake cards. Obviously, people knew they were fake, but people would actually give me real cards in exchange just because they were like, it was just a joke. And they would just give me like the worst cards, like commons or something. And I had a good friend who would give me like his cards because he and his family were like massive fans of it. They would like buy hundreds and hundreds of cards each week. And there will be a lot that like they don't need, or they're just like very like shitty cards, and they'll just like he'll just give them to me because we were like close friends at the time. And what I'll do is I'll take those common cards and I'll just like slowly trade up and get them to like higher and higher tiers. And that's like essentially the game I played for like many years in primary school. And it wasn't all like, sunshine and rainbows. I got scammed a few times in the sense that I traded up to a good card, but then like some like year sixer, or some guy in a high year level would tell me that, oh, I got a very special deal with you. I'm going to give you these 3 cards, which turned out to be like 3 commons, for your super rare card. And at the time, I didn't know better. Like I was persuaded. I was just vamoosed by their sales skills. And so I like got ripped off a few times, which kind of taught me about why it's important to have trust, and it kind of gave me trust issues after that when it comes to the football cards. But point aside, eventually after a few years, I managed to trade up to like a super rare card, which was like probably like the best card at the time, and they were called magic cards, which was basically just the best card you can get. And when my friend saw, he was like, "Can I buy them off of you?" And when he said that, I thought it was a joke because, we were primary school kids. Anything related to like money, we usually didn't talk about because everyone was like broke. No one like ever taught about like buying and selling things. Like this was just such a unfamiliar concept with me. But after like just talking a bit more, he was like serious. Like, I'm being serious, man. Like, bring your cards tomorrow. I'll bring you $50 per card. I'll bring you $100 and I'll pay you in cash tomorrow, straight away. And I was like, yeah, sure. Because, I mean, I just never thought that anyone would actually pay money to buy football cards. And in terms of what they're worth, like you could argue that there could be worth more, but at the time, $100 to me was equivalent to like $1,000,000 now. Like $100 then in like year 5, I could buy all the chicken nuggets from the school canteen that I wanted. And so I said, sure, let's do it. Next day, we sealed the deal. He gave me 250 notes. And that's how I made my first $100 by selling football cards. Now, the reason I want to share this story is, sure, this experience like taught me about business, negotiations, making sure you trust the right people, things like that. But the reason why I always remember this story like so well is because in primary school growing up, I was never like the family with a lot of money. In fact, as my parents moved over to Australia, they were extremely poor. And at the time, they couldn't even afford like clothes. So they had to like buy me secondhand clothes, which are typically free from like the local like, charity store. And there would just be like certain things in my childhood that now when I look back, I realize that, we weren't like well off at all. Like at like a cheap Chinese restaurant, we would always pick like the cheapest option in a menu. Just small things like that. And so when I made $100, what it meant for me was way more than what it was literally worth. Because what it signified for me was that I was capable of controlling my circumstances. And I didn't have to let the fact that just because I immigrated to Australia because I was poor, I had to let these circumstances hold me back from everything. And it made me realize that regardless of which situation you're in, regardless of how bad it is, how shitty it is, that there's always a way out. And even if that way out is, selling fake football cards at first, or having a friend who will give you a bunch of free cards, which you then have to like trade up over the years and gradually get it up to like the best card you can, which then you can sell it to like a friend. And even if you have to go through all those years of just constant trial and error, work, setbacks, eventually you can control your own circumstances. And for me, this entire situation proved that to me. And that was the mentality I carried forward after primary school, into middle school, into university, and work now, that I can control anything as long as I set my mind to it. So that's why I want to share that story of how I made my first $100, because it taught me to always have the mindset that you can control any circumstance.